might be limited to an hour of streaming or something. Maybe you get more allotment as a, as a someone who's got a partner program or something like that. Maybe I'm limited to an hour. Maybe I should stop running my mouth and show you more stuff. I don't know. Sorry. So anyways, you let this train as long as you want until you think it's pretty sharp and you're happy with how it looks. Like I say, you can see here, glass is not so well remmed out. So again, it's like I would probably want to go in and find this one and try to fix that problem. I don't know why I quit streaming like that. Like I said, I have to assume that either I lost my connection or it looked like I was streaming pretty much for an hour directly, and that's probably where they cut me off, I guess. They got tired of me. So, yeah, you can see around the neck there, it's kind of bleeding off and not looking great. But this is one of those background ones, like I said, that isn't going to be as sharp. And I might just edit some of that out. But anyways, once you're happy with this, and again, this one's pretty crappy, you'll hit enter and close this out. It'll save your results. Enter again. And then you go back and you tell it you want to apply and apply. So you apply to the destination and you apply to the source using those two batch files, and it will apply your updated, more well-trained XSEG mask. And yeah, like I said, I don't know what happened with my stream. I'm going to see if let me go back to my channel here and see on my other PC what the effing deal is. What the hell did it load? I clicked on my channel, it loaded something else. Sorry, it's being very strange. Yeah, I think that's a little bit weird. I think that, I don't know if that's the right one or not. I think that one's the dead one. I think this is the live one. This is probably the live one. Okay, well, yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know how I got dropped like that. Sorry. Anyway, so once you've applied it to both, it well defines the face, or better defines it, like I say, rems out glasses, etc. And once all that's done and you're happy with how that all worked out, then we get into the part that takes a really long time. So, you have the Quick 96 is like a low-res version. You can tell it to train a model like that, or you can tell it to train SAEHD, which is the high-definition version, and we want to use that if you want it to look like not shit. So this is AgentSmith one. I've got a bunch of different models in here. Some of these are just old that I never deleted or whatever. But basically, the one I'm doing right now is a whole face, 320 resolution, destination face -UD. Like these are like little bonus elements you can add when you create them. I'll create a new one just so I can show you how to make a new one. Derp. Whatever. So I'm going to say I want to make a, this is my first run of derped. I'm going to tell it I still want to use my 3090, and then it's going to let me pick a bunch of settings. So yes, I want it to auto back up, because if you don't, then it's not saving automatically. That can be a problem. Write preview history. I don't really know like where it puts that. I've never used that, so I'm just going to leave that off. Target iteration, so you can just start off with whatever you want, but a fairly large number so you can let it go for a while. So we'll just say 250,000 is fine. Flip faces randomly. So any one of these, like if you don't know what they do, you can hit a question mark and it'll tell you what each setting does. So predicted face will look more natural without this option. Like kids are talking outside. Without this option, but the source face set should cover all face directions as the destination face set. So like if you've only got one where he's like looking like this all the time and not looking like this or different directions, you want to leave this enabled. Otherwise, shut it off, and it will try to do the best job it can with whatever you've provided it. Like it won't like mirror a face to try to do a better job, in other words. But we'll leave this on. Batch size. So the higher amount of video memory that you have, the higher you can go with the batch size, and I believe that pretty much expedites how fast it can train each iteration. Depending on what resolution you pick, is how high you can go with this. I think 24 is about how high I go with a 320 resolution. So we'll say 24. I'll also do 320 whole face. So this is okay. So DF keep more identity preserve face. The guy that made this doesn't speak English as a native language either. So some of this is like the grammar is whatever it is. You increase likeliness of the face. Experimental, doubling the resolution using the same computation cost. So df-ud, and I usually don't mess with these because they tend to be whatever you probably want by default, I think. Mask training, yes, because we use the mask. Eyes priority, yes. If you shut that off, their eyes will be all googly. They still do that a lot anyway. It's like it still has a hard time getting those really good. Uniform distribution of samples helps to fix blurry sides of the face if you don't have a bunch of faces of that style in the face set, so we'll leave that on. Place models and optimizers on GPU. If you're running out of video memory, like if you start getting out of memory errors, you can tell this to no, and it will run it on the CPU instead and use less video memory, but it'll be slower. But in my case, I should be able to use it. Learning rate dropout. So you want to leave this off until it says until you've trained enough, and then I don't actually know what subpixel shake necessarily means, but it says when the face is trained enough, you can enable this option to get extra sharpness and reduce the subpixel shake for less amount of iterations. Enable it before you disabling the next setting, which is the random warp. Disable random warp and GAN, which is, I think that's global adversarial network is what that stands for. That's like using an AI network to train the model faster. It doesn't seem to work yet with Ampere cards. It just always throws an error whenever I enable that. So I don't know how much of an effect that has, but I can't use it, so I'm not going to try to use it. So I'm going to leave that off for now until later when I train the model further. I'm not even going to use this model. Mine's already further than this, but you get the idea. Random warp of samples. Random is required to generalize the facial expression of both faces. When the face is trained enough, you can disable it and get extra sharpness and reduce the subpixel shake for the same number of iterations. So we'll leave this on for now. Later we'll shut this off and enable the previous setting. No GAN power because, again, I can't use GAN. It seems like it doesn't work on Ampere yet. Or it doesn't work with this version of TensorFlow or something. True face power is experimental. It discriminates the face result to be more like the source face. Higher value, stronger discrimination. Typical value 0.01. I've had weird issues with like any of some of these settings, so I don't really use them. Face style power. Learn the color and predicted face. Try to be the same as the destination inside the mask. So I guess technically, like if I wanted to make Arnold's face green on Yoda, like that probably would be a setting to try. It says only enable it after 10K iterations when the face is clear enough to start learning the style. Start from 0.001 and check the history changes. Enabling this option increases the chances of the model collapse. So if the model collapses, it's like you got to start all over again from what I understand. I've never had that happen. Background style power. Learn the area outside the mask to be the same as the destination. I don't really know where that would be useful, but that's an option again where that can cause the model to collapse. Color transfer. So this will like help it blend the source with the destination mask. There's a bunch of different options. You can try each one to see if it works better, but you can do that later on anyway when you merge it. So this isn't really necessary now that I've found. Gradient clipping reduces the chance of the model collapse, but it sacrifices speed. I've never enabled it and I've never needed it. Now, okay, pre-training is the last part, and you can download pre-trained models from that folder that I showed at the beginning of my, I guess, previous live session now, because this is now live streaming too. Anyways, but pre-trained models, what it means is there's a bunch of celebrity faces and so forth that the guy has included in one of these folders. I forget where it's at, but anyways, there's just like thousands and thousands of celebrity images, and it will pre-train your model with all of those first, and they'll generalize and get the idea of facial expressions, and it benefits it. It speeds up your training later on a bit, so it's not a bad idea to do that. Training that however far you want, but you can download one that's been pre-trained like 1,000,000 iterations. That's what I use. Like that WF model that I had was pre-trained 1,000,000 iterations. I got that off of like a Deepfakes Lab web forum, but you can also get again, like he's got pre-trained models in here. I don't know how good this one is. This might even be the one that I used. I don't remember. But this is one you could try to start with. Again, that's at the 320 resolution, so that's a good one to start with. Or you can try getting ones from, like, again, there's a website, Deepfakes something or other. Let me see. It's Mr. Deepfakes. That's what it is. I don't know if that's going to load or not. Well, whatever. There it goes. Mr. Deepfakes. There's all kinds of stuff available on there. They've got different different, if you have questions about how to do something, that's a good place to ask it. But anyways, once you pre-train it, however far you want to pre-train it, or again, you can use a pre-trained model. The next time around, you can come back in and change the settings on it when you go to load it up again and just tell it to stop pre-training, and then it will start training your actual model. So I'm going to not pre-train this one because I'm not going to use it anyway. And it's going to start doing what it do. Now this is going to take it a while to load up all the images and stuff again. So I'm just going to kill this one, and then I'll show you like what mine's actually doing, so you can see what one looks like when it's been training for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my model WF whole face 320, and we'll let it load up here. Now mine is at like 370,000 some odd iterations. These take, like again, the higher the resolution you go, the longer it takes to train each iteration. Mine's training slightly faster than 1 iteration per second, which I guess is not that fast. But again, until they have an official version of Deepfakes Lab that works better with Ampere cards, this is the option. So now it's going to load these samples up. This is actually going at a reasonable speed. Sometimes it, excuse me, sometimes it takes quite a bit longer. It just seems weird too. Like from one model to the next, I've had kind of various results in how quick it trains things. So it's a little screwy. Why does it just call this one desktop? Like I'm looking at the name of the video. The name is desktop. That's weird. I wonder if I can go ahead and change that while it's loading. Alright, now I've renamed the stream. So this will take this another minute here, so I'm sorry that all this stuff just takes forever. Like it has to load everything into memory, it has to load it up into system memory, it has to load it up into the video memory, whatever it's doing, whatever step. It definitely takes it a while. And this, like I say, will pretty much really refund your GPU. So you might want to have a program either like MSI Afterburner, or in this case I got EVGA Precision X1. Set your fans up to whatever you think an appropriate level is going to be and watch your temps for a little bit and just see how it does. It's not doing it yet, but in a minute here once it really gets going. I haven't found it's been too much of a problem on my 3090, but on my Titan that thing gets pretty hot. So whatever card you're using, and you really want to have the fans cranked up. Good airflow in the case. Water cooling would be ideal. Whenever they get the hybrid kits out for the 3090, I'm going to upgrade mine to that. That'll help with this a little bit. But for my Titan, I probably need to put like an NZXT G12 on there or something. Nobody's watching my channel. Oh well. Yeah, well, I'll watch my own damn video here from my other PC to give myself one viewer. So what about what now, man? Alright, there. I am now viewing myself. Alright, so it's starting to train. Alright, so here's the training window. And this is pretty much just showing. So there's different pages. So if you hit the spacebar key, it'll change like what you can view here. And if you hit the P key, it will just kind of show you a different image as to what's being trained and how well it's coming along. But you can see like my source Arnold, and then it starts to train and starts to learn this. They look pretty similar, but like there's small details here. Like here, the wrinkles, and there's like pocks and stuff. Well, now we've changed that, but they're more pronounced here. Here it looks smoother. Eventually, this should pretty much look like this. I think is the way the idea is. But if you hit the spacebar key, like now we see our destination character. So this is destination and how well it's learned the destination character. So again, here, bunch of wrinkles in the forehead, etc. Here, not so much. It's pretty smooth, etc. So over time, this will look more and more like this, and I guess that's pretty much when you know whether or not it's going to be all that good. Then you can see here the prediction of what the overlaid new character on this character looks like. This is another source-to-source comparison. I'm not sure why it does that twice, really. and destination character again, but without the background. And then this is the overlay. So you see, like I told you, I rimmed out the glasses, and now it will look like Arnold is wearing the glasses. Whereas if I didn't do that, it would just blend the glasses into his head, and it would look very strange and not good. So you can see I can advance that. The temps, I mean, it's jumping around a little bit, but the cooling on this is really good, and it doesn't seem like I'm having as good a luck with as some people are getting better results out of their speed. Like you can see here, it shows like what iteration you're on and how fast. Like actually, I think this is because I'm live streaming. Probably that this is going a bit slower. Some of my CUDA cores have been allocated for shadow play, and so it's not gonna. Normally it's like under 900, so it's a little slower, but it's about 1 per second, 1 iteration per second. And so you can see the different settings I've chosen here. I'll scroll this down a little bit. So you can see model name, current iteration, resolution, all the different settings we chose, etc. And my target iteration currently is 750,000, but once you get there or close, you can just crank it up again. But I would let this train and train and train and train. I let it train the whole time I was on vacation, and it went from like 140,000 to like 310,000. So, you know, in a week, I did about 200,000 iterations, which is pretty good. So you figure in about a month, you could train one of these out to about 800,000 on an RTX 3090. And again, your mileage seems like it might vary a little bit. It just depends, I think, on your CPU more than as much as the GPU on certain portions of this training. I don't know. I have weird results, I think, sometimes compared to other people. Like my second system is a Titan and a what the hell, an i7 9700F, and it does a pretty good job. So it's kind of weird, and it has less memory too. But it doesn't do so good when it comes to like processing the video and merging the characters. Like it takes way longer on that one. So it's like hit or miss. So once you get to the point where like you think you've hit enough iterations, you're happy with the result, we'll hit enter again. I think it's enter. Again, there's a little lag. Yeah, it's supposed to be enter to exit, but this thing is sluggish. Come on. Jeez. What the blue-eyed hell's going on here? That doesn't wanna. Whatever. Normally you hit enter, it would work. I don't know why it's not working. Great. So, you've trained your model. Next, you want to merge your model. And this is another thing that can take some time. So we'll load that up. And again, I'm loading up the most recent model I've worked on. And yes, so you have an interactive version or a non-interactive version. The interactive version is at least useful in showing you what you're going to be doing. Like you can see how it's going to look at every step of every frame of video. You can see what it's doing. This is going to take a minute. Tell you what, this is a live stream. I'm going to go make my own live stream in the restroom. We'll be back in a minute while that loads. Don't go anywhere. Pretty slow process, I'm sorry. This seems like this takes longer because of these, my images are being high resolution like they are. Like again, if these were 1024s, or especially 512 by 512, it would have been, excuse me, it would have been done quite a while ago. So, it's got about a minute to go on this portion of it. Probably a couple minutes more total, and it's going to open up an interactive window. Like I said, I'm going to probably a junk mail. Just everybody I work with saying Happy Thanksgiving to each other. Sort of a holiday circle jerk of people saying stuff. Getting there. And again, I think this is partly because I'm live streaming this. I wasn't sure how well this was going to go, trying to live stream and do it at the same time, because this is, all this crap is pretty system intensive stuff. It'd be kind of fun to Photoshop a bunch of images somehow, you know, make a goofy character or something like that, or, you know, mess with someone's face in Photoshop to really distort their facial features and then try to deepfake that onto something else. Okay, so it's talking here about, yeah, see, it says it's strongly recommended to use or to process the faces separately, like I was talking about earlier. These are all instances where there's like several faces in one frame of video, because as I mentioned, like I showed that scene later, you've got like multiple AgentSmiths coming in to convert the oracle. So I'm not going to use my save session. We're going to start a new one. Alright, so this is the interactive window, and if you hit tab on it, it will switch to the actual video frame. But I've memorized these hotkeys, but whenever you need to, you can go back and you can reference any of this stuff if you need to look at it and verify what button does what. Like I said, I've just done this enough that I've got it all memorized. But you've got different types of facial masks you can do. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the point where it's going to matter in the video here. So this is, I wanted to do something crazy where they're all fighting and have them all be Arnolds, but holy shit, that would be complicated, and that would take me like a year to do that, probably. Something stupid like that. That's only a slight exaggeration. So she's going to first of all and turn into the regular agent, and then Smith's going to show up, and shit's going to get crazy. Now you can see it already started to chug and slow down, and it's because it's starting to load up Smith, who is Arnold Smith. You can see he's kind of blurry and effed up looking, but we'll get here out a little bit so you can kind of see, like, this is just the raw, no settings, no refinement done, and here it shows the settings that you're currently using. So if you don't know what any of these things are or whatever, you can see here at least what values have been applied to each one of them. But like if I want to change it from an overlay, they have what's called histogram match, and I don't really know what some of these things actually mean, but whatever, that's okay. Seamless seems to blend it pretty well. You can see that already seems to have done a pretty good job, but sometimes seamless will be better. Sometimes you know, overlay will be the better option. You just got to play with it and find what looks good on your video until you find the settings you like, and then kind of stick with that. So yeah, we're happy that it at least kind of looks like it's blending in here. I'm going to go ahead and blur the mask a bit. I'll try out about at 40. You can go all the way up to like 250 or 300 on this or something. But you can see already the edge is much smoother and looks a lot more like it's really supposed to be part of the face. If I erode the mask a little bit, it might take off a little of that edge a little bit more. And it didn't do that much. But I'll go ahead and push this out to maybe 75. And that's better again. It's not great, but better. Now, like I talked about earlier, these different color transfer modes that you can select when you're training the model, but you can just do it here instead. So just hit C, and it will cycle through different colors. C for color, that's kind of easy. Now, one thing that's a problem is it seems like the more settings you screw with, it's like my CPU starts getting bogged down to the point, I mean, even if it's just sitting idle, it's like you'll start seeing maybe all these Python. Like right now, it's not doing it too badly, but eventually Python, yeah, you see like there's 13 right now, and I'm only at about 7% CPU usage, but as I go, it'll get worse and worse and worse and worse, especially if you do super resolution. That just wrecks it. But anyways, we'll play with it a little bit more. We'll push this up maybe to 120-ish. See if that gets the point. That's pretty cool. I mean, you'll keep playing with it, you know. If you don't like it, you can keep going further, but that's, for our purposes, just for demonstration. That's not too bad. I'm still trying to see if I can get a color exchange that I think looks a little bit better. Go back to overlay, see if I like that more. I mean, you can see like a freaking edge right there and right there. Yeah. My kitty's talking. He's a real talker, that cat. You can do, hold on, here it is. See if we can see what like Arnold's face looks like in comparison with the rest of the body. And then you can just zoom out and that's all you would see. But I'll go back to seamless, I guess, wasn't too bad. Just trying to find one that I like that looks halfway decent. Because right now, like I say, it's still just a little bit too obvious. Well, whatever. Like I said, ugh, come on, find something. Yeah, I'll try blurring it a little bit more. All right, that ain't horrible. Damn it. I thought I saw something wrong. Oh, there's a system there. Come on, you ugly son of a bitch. I thought one of these would look better than this. You can see like it's starting to take longer to apply the settings, even though I'm not really asking much of it. See, that's just, it gets stuck, whatever. So once you're happy with how it looks, which I'm really not, but whatever, there's some different options in here. So you can, if you hold Shift and hit M, it will override and apply these settings to everything prior to the frame of video that you're currently on. If you want to apply it to everything after the current frame of video that you're on, you hold Shift and you hit the backslash key, and so now it's going to apply all these, like these particular settings, to the whole video past this point. So that'll take it a second. But it's not actually merging them yet, it's just applying those settings like we said. Okay, so after this, I can advance each frame of video just to kind of watch it and see if I like how it's looking, using, again, period key to move forward a frame or comma key to go back a frame, like if I want to verify that I see something I like or don't like. Or you can just hold it down. And the higher the settings you go with this, especially with super resolution, this will just chug. Even now it's freezing up on me a bit. I'm not even using super resolution. Now super resolution will really sharpen it up, but there's like a certain point where it gets so sharp that it doesn't look good. It looks fake. So I think around a 30 on super resolution, maybe 40, seems to be pretty good. So here he's going to jam his fingers into old boy and turn him into another Smith. Well, maybe one day. Alright. So it goes, yeah, it's me. Me. It's me. It'll be me too. Come on. Convert him now. It's taking forever. Oh my god. This is what I'm talking about. Like, it just... The CPU, see, for a second there was at like 90 effing percent. It just spikes. Like, the further I get into it, the more it starts doing that. I don't know if that's something wrong with my system or if this is really that intensive of a process, but it gets harder and harder to get through the whole damn video. Maybe it's just because of the interactive merger. And it'd be one thing, like, if you could use the same settings to the whole video, but when I get to the part where, like, they're in her apartment and he's going to turn the Oracle into AgentSmith, like, the lighting's different and stuff, and you end up having to change a lot of the facial settings again. So he's converting, it's really slow, but he's converting. And you can see this looks pretty good here, actually, but it's really smooth. So you can see what I'm saying, like, his neck and his face don't look like they belong to the same person. Now, if I train it long enough, supposedly that should be corrected. or at least largely, the skin tones and like pock marks and normal skin imperfections that people have, you know, should look better. So here at some point, like I need to go through and do more of these and trace them out, because right now that still looks too much like Smith, but now you can see it became Arnold. From one frame to the next, it went from being Smith to Arnold. And now it's converted. Now, when it's going fast, like at a normal, like 24 frames a second or 30 frames a second or whatever your video is encoded at, you really won't notice that. But so you can make decisions about whether or not you think it's worth editing every little frame. Now you can see that this actually looks pretty good. And anyways, I kind of gotten the point across here. This is kind of how you play with this. This is sort of how you edit the face and get it how you want it to look. I think once I get this to maybe, you know, 500,000–600,000 iterations, this might start looking pretty sharp. This already looks pretty good. It's reasonably convincing. But again, this looks blurry and kind of, you know, doesn't look real sharp compared to like the skin in his neck or whatever, or his ears. It doesn't look as much like skin. It looks kind of rubbery or something, I guess, or like plastic. And I guess, you know, you train it enough, maybe that problem goes away. So once you were at the point where you're happy with it and you want it to just apply those settings and merge the whole video, you hold Shift and you hit the period key, and it will process the rest of the video, which here it's saying like it's doing about 1 iteration a second, and that's going to take 44 minutes. It's probably not going to actually take it that long. Usually this will start updating itself, and it might actually only take this, let's just say, like, you know, like 10–15 minutes or something. But it depends on the settings you use. If you use super resolution, it takes a lot longer. It takes a really long time to spit out the result. But once you're done with this and this is finished, I'm just going to cancel this because I'm not actually going to use that. Alright, again, it's taking like too long for it to update, so whatever. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, so once you've finished merging it and it's finished that process, you'll tell it merge to MP4, and it will spit out a video file for you after a few minutes of processing it. And that video file will end up in the workspace folder under the name result. So I'm going to show you the result that I had just with doing AgentSmith. Now, like, it's going to stop about a portion through this, and the audio will keep going, but it'll be done. I guess I won't turn on the audio. I don't know if that really affects the copyright at this point anyway. Whatever. Here we go. So it's a little choppy at the beginning there. Alright.
Yes, me.
His nose is kind of jacked up on this from the side profile.
Me too.
Now, it's like it's still trying to play afterwards, but I didn't do any more of it in the merger process. I just stopped there, so you'll hear the audio keep playing, but I didn't continue it. But anywho, you get the general idea here. And again, like, you know, you can spit that video out and see how it looks. If you don't like it, you go back and continue to make refinements, and you know, get better source material. You get you know, you can run all of that through again, like Topaz Labs Gigapixel AI, and see if it can sharpen it up for you or whatever. It's like a lot of trial and error and playing with settings and seeing if you like the results or not. And if you don't, you do something else. So with that said, it's been a pretty long hour and a half or what? Yeah, been at this for over an hour and a half. If you guys like the results, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'll be getting a new monitor soon. It's an MSI Prestige. It's a 38-inch 5K 2K HDR600 Nano IPS display. I think that's going to be pretty nice. I'm going to try using that for some gaming, but also just for productivity. It's going to be really badass. But watch for me to put out some of these deepfakes here in the near future. Like I said, if I can get that Gollum converted to Yoda video done, I think that's going to be really cool. But that one's going to take a long time because that's starting from scratch. Those are characters I've not done before. Or I've done Gollum to some degree in the past, but it was low res and not good quality. I'm trying to do good quality. So if anybody has any questions, ask them in the comments section below. I know you probably have a lot of questions if this is something you're interested in. I will try to help you as best as possible. But like I said, it's a fairly complicated, long process of steps. mean, once you've done it a few times, it won't seem that complicated. But it just it could take quite a while to get to the point where you're just kind of in a flow with it. I've done like 25 of these things now, various kinds just to screw around with, and that seems to be where I started getting comfortable with it. Or, you know, I'm always learning something new with it. But that said, if you like the content, please leave the video a thumbs up. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel and watch for new content coming up here soon. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a great rest of your Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you again in the near future.